It'll be Fisher sitting in the pistol offense with two wide receivers left, and then Singletary, and he'll pitch it to Singletary, and Singletary wants to throw. He's got a man wide open in the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Jonah Daniels. Little razzle-dazzle. They did the pitch play earlier to Singletary, and this time he finds Daniels deep inside the end zone, lofts it to him. That's a touchdown for Episcopal. It's 7-6, extra point upcoming.
That's 1010XL's Spencer Balls Davis on the call, joined by Mo Williams in the press box for the Episcopal Eagles, who kept it close early Friday night against the St. Petersburg Barons. But the momentum quickly shifted as the Barons began piling on touchdowns. Here's Spencer Davis again with the calls.
He's got three wide receivers left, one to his right. Wants to fire the wide receiver screen. Now he looks out of it. Now he's going to go deep down the field. He's got a man down there, and it's caught. Touchdown, St. Petersburg. This time they're going to drop back a pass. Sheehan under pressure, rolling out, now scrambling, staying alive somehow, now going back to the right, and throws it out, and it's caught. Crosses the 50, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, to the 25, the 20, the 10, the 5, and he's into the end zone.
As the clock wind down, the final score was St. Petersburg 49, Episcopal 16. 1010XL sideline reporter Scott Manzi talked to Episcopal head coach Mark Brunell after the game.
Coach, obviously a tough loss tonight. Focus on some positives here. There are a lot of penalties called in this game, most of them on St. Pete Catholic. Penalties have been an issue earlier in the season for you guys. Really showed a much better discipline tonight.
You know, it was a positive, but that was probably the only one. We didn't tackle well, we didn't execute, and we just got beat by a good football team.
Going into the bye week now, Bishop Kenny a week after, what are you going to work on in the bye week to get ready for the Crusaders?
You know, it's tackling. We're facing a tough challenge in Bishop Kenny. Very well-coached football team. They got a good bunch of good players. We've got our work cut out for us, but it starts with just tackling and blocking. It's that simple.
Here's Spencer and Mo with the game recap.
Back here in McCormick Field, the final score tonight, St. Petersburg Catholic comes into town and walks away with a 49-16 victory over Episcopal. Unfortunately, now the Eagles fall to 2-7 on the season. But we've got offensive and defensive players of the game. The offensive player of the game, brought to you by Sudduth Moving Company, is
Jonah Daniels. I thought he did a good job of making some catches and making some really strong runs. I think he had that grown man run earlier that we talked about that had that.
That got you fired up.
It did get me fired up.
How did you describe that, the grown man thing?
That's a grown man run.
Pounded the table.
I pounded the table, and that's the type of play
he broke Keith's keyboard.
And Charlie was nervous. I think
everything makes Charlie nervous. He's a baby.
But Jonah Daniels did a good job tonight of playing hard.
Our defensive player of the game, brought to you by Basham and Lucas Design Group, is Joel Andrews. Came back to the lineup tonight for the first time in at least 5-6 weeks, being back out on the field after an injury. Made some big tackles, stepping up his game tonight. And Joel Andrews, a leader on this defense tonight. There wasn't a lot to talk about defensively, unfortunately, as you give up 49 points, but made some key tackles in some big situations.
He came back, and you can tell he had fresh legs in this part of the season. You can tell the guys got a little more spunk to themselves, and Joel Andrews definitely was able to make some crucial, I won't say crucial tackles, but some really strong tackles tonight.
I thought you had a lot of spunk tonight.
I tried to bring some spunk, maybe a little too much, but hey.
It's never enough spunk.
I'll bring more spunk next week. Well, 2 weeks.
It's a bye week. Work on it in the bye week.
We get a bye week. I'm going to rest.
All right, you do that. We need a lot of rest.
We need rest.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. Again, it'll be Bishop Kenny, the final game of the season. You'll hear the Bishop Kenny side of the broadcast on 92.5 FM. We'll be on the 1010 side. I want to thank 1010 Tommy back at the studio for making it happen, and Brian Barloon taking over. He'll have the Friday Night Lights post-game show with Fat Tony and Hacker standing by. Of course, thanks to Scotty Manzi on the sidelines as always, and our engineer doing a great job. I don't know what his name is, but he does a fantastic job every single week. Richie Allen, I guess is what he calls himself. Dickie Allen, okay. And Charlie, great job filmmaking tonight.
Good job, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie. Don't come back in a couple weeks. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Thanks for joining us tonight on 1010XL. Again, your final score from McCormick Field. It's St. Petersburg Catholic 49, Episcopal 16. Good night, everyone.